Hey y'all, welcome back to the Empowering the Future of Agriculture podcast with me, Carson Osteen. Today, I am joined by the 2024-2025 Tennessee FFA State Reporter, Paige Pardue. Paige, if you'd like to introduce yourself, go ahead.
I'm Paige Pardue, and I'm serving as the 2024-2025 Tennessee FFA State Reporter, and on top of that, I'm also serving as the FFA and the USA Reporter, and as a Speak Ag Pioneer for this year. I'm extremely excited to be a part of Carson's podcast today. I know he has inspired so many individuals, including myself. Carson told me the other day about the chickens he had gotten, and I thought they were so adorable, so I had to get 6 of them myself. So thank you, Carson, for the chicken advice, and thank you for having me on this podcast today.
Oh yeah, I forgot I haven't shared this on any of my platforms, or on the podcast rather, yet. But yeah, I did get chickens, and yeah. So I'm really excited to have you on the podcast today. So starting off, I wanted to ask, how has your FFA journey looked over the years?
So right now, I've been an active FFA member for going on 6 years. But it all began during 8th grade when I was at my best friend Carly's house and we were talking to her older sister Chloe. Chloe was really involved in FFA and persuaded Carly and I to take agri-science. I remember walking into my honors agri-science class. It smelled like rabbits, the walls were national blue and corn gold, and there were FFA emblems everywhere. I was really overwhelmed, but I had no clue that what I was getting myself into and that this was going to be paving the future for me. Around November, I decided that I wanted an FFA jacket. So my ag teacher took me to the closet. We were just walking and she asked me if I wanted to do an FFA contest, and I agreed to do the agriculture issue contest, only if Carly did it too. So Carly and I found a few more teammates and we did the contest. I remember it like it was yesterday. We had a news broadcast set up for me to be interviewed as part of our presentation. I was sitting in the chair shaking because I was so nervous. I think the index cards that I had were soaking wet too. But I did it. We left that contest, and on our drive home, Miss Garrison gave us the news that we had won. Now, at that time, I didn't understand winning in FFA. All I knew is that we had gone first. We did, in fact, get last in the region, but we were the only team from our district, so we did get first. But that was the spark for my FFA journey. After that contest, I really wanted to be more involved. I became the 2020-2021 Hendersonville FFA reporter, and I was on top of the world. But it was still COVID year, so we didn't really do much in my FFA chapter. But I did start my supervised agriculture experience where I advocated for agriculture through social media. I just used the Hendersonville FFA social media at the time, but it grew into what it is now. But my junior year of high school, I competed in roughly 9 different contests and served as our chapter secretary and loved it. I loved the events, the competition, and most importantly, I loved the people. I'd gotten to meet people from all over Tennessee at that point, so I applied for the Next Gen Conference for Plant Systems. So my advisor and I took a road trip to St. Louis, Missouri, and I got to experience so many cool things, from the members, the places we visited, to the presence of being able to advocate for agriculture. Senior year comes around, and I'm serving as my chapter's president, and I desperately wanted to become a state officer. I worked tirelessly doing interviews, tests, writing letters, you name it, all on top of senior year fun stuff, some pretty difficult classes, and still being an asset to my FFA chapter. Convention came around, and I didn't get elected as a state officer, and I was pretty devastated, but I didn't feel like it was over yet. I left convention feeling like I needed to keep going, so I did. I stayed home that year, so what would have been my freshman year of college, and I did community college so I could still be a part of my FFA chapter and eventually run for state office again. Now here I am today because I kept going. I achieved my goal of serving Tennessee FFA and being able to advocate for agriculture in our organization. So that's just a little bit about my FFA journey.
So I know you mentioned a handful of things that you've done over your years in FFA, like going to Next Gen conferences, running for state office, getting a state officer position, competing in various competitions, but what are some of your favorite things about FFA?
Some of my favorite things about FFA is such a hard question because FFA is a diverse organization. From the people to the contests and even conferences that we attend, there are just so many aspects of FFA. One of my favorite things has to be the different states. We have Texas that has 130,000 members just in their state. And then Maine, that has as many members as I have in my high school FFA chapter. Now, to me, that is so fascinating. Every state does different things, from apple judging to the agriculture education contest to Spanish Creed. But every state gets to add a little bit of their culture to the organization. When my state officer team and I attended the State Officer Summit in Washington, D.C., I got to see firsthand how different our states were. From how we spoke, to the different things our state officers do during their year, to what they do outside of serving their state. Another thing that I really love about FFA is the reputation it gives you outside of the jacket and outside of high school. You never really know how impactful FFA is until you're applying for a job and they ask you what you did in high school. The first thing I always say is FFA. Your future boss knows the leadership skills that you gain just by wearing that blue corduroy jacket. After being in an interview and my boss telling me how she knew to hire me after knowing I was in FFA gave me pride for our organization. Every time I put on my jacket or wear an emblem, I feel so thankful and prideful for the organization I'm a part of. I never fail to tell someone about our organization while wearing the emblem. Either someone sparks a question or tells me about their time in FFA. And those are the qualities of leadership that make me love our organization so much.
I really like the aspect that you gave of all the different states. Like, you were mentioning how, Texas, it has 130 something thousand members. Like you said, Maine may have as many as your high school chapter. But there's so many different things with FFA. Like, I really like that you mentioned the different CDEs and LDEs that you see across the country. Like, I know Tennessee FFA mentioned something about doing an ag education competition at this upcoming state convention. That's something that's really, really cool that I'm sure came an idea that came from another state, and we're taking it and seeing it grow as a Tennessee FFA thing. And I really like that you dove into all of the different things about FFA. Like, I know, not from experience, but in general, that when a boss sees FFA or was an FFA member on an application, that really highlights that person. And that's really, really good on our organization. Like you said, the reputation for FFA is amazing. I'm really, really glad that our organization is full of all the opportunities that we're full of. And yeah, so moving on to the next question, could you walk us through what your state officer journey has looked like?
So right now I've been a state officer for roughly 5 months, and every day is something new. I remember getting elected and hearing my mom scream the whole time I was running down the aisle, to immediately after getting sworn into office, and then I was interviewed. To this day, I still don't know what I said in that interview or what happened after that, but as part of my duties, I run the Tennessee FFA social media accounts. And at first, I was so scared to post anything because I did not want to mess up. But it has probably been one of my favorite things that I get to do. Well, besides camp. Camp was my whole summer. I did week 1, and then the next week I went to forestry camp. And we had a little break, and then I did week 4 and 6. And when I tell you, I walked 20 miles in 5 days, I am not lying. But after camp, I decided that I wanted to continue my supervised agricultural experience by advocating for agriculture in our organization through social media. So I applied to be an FFA in the USA Reporter and as a Speak Ag Pioneer. Now, FFA in the USA Reporter has well over 100 reporters around the United States. Now, Speak Ag Pioneers are only open to state officers, and 24 become pioneers. There's well over 300 state officers around the country, but only 24 of us become pioneers. So while having the title as a Speak Ag Pioneer, I'm blessed to be able to advocate for agriculture through National FFA. I get to use social media platforms to educate and advocate. So follow Paige and the Pioneers on TikTok. But these positions have really blessed me with how I get to be the frontline advocate for our members, our state, and our organization. So that has been super rewarding. But with school starting up, I also have the opportunity to visit with different FFA chapters around the state and do different workshops with the members to develop leadership skills, learn about FFA, and different opportunities in agriculture. So this has been really fun to be able to see different FFA programs and meet new members.
I know you mentioned that you've been a state officer for now about 5 months, and it's crazy that it's already been that long. But, honestly, like I've said on previous podcasts, I think I said it on one with Sarah or something like that. The state officers like impacts are felt so much by like other members, and I can honestly speak from experience the lasting impact that a state officer has left on me, or that a certain team has left on me. Like, and I honestly cannot wait to see what impact that you guys end up leaving on Tennessee FFA. But leading on into the next question, what are you looking forward to most with the rest of your year of service?
As I look ahead of my year of service, what excites me the most is the chance to make a meaningful impact on FFA members in building lasting connections within our FFA community as well as the agriculture industry as a whole. I'm genuinely looking forward to engaging with members across the state, hearing their stories, and understanding their unique challenges and aspirations. One of the key aspects I'm thrilled about is working closely with our chapters to provide support and resources that can help them thrive, whether that's through organizing leadership workshops or facilitating community service projects with them, or simply just being there to listen and offer guidance. I'm eager to see how these efforts can inspire and empower our members. For instance, FFA's focus on developing essential life skills and leadership qualities is something I'm deeply passionate about. Research shows that students involved in FFA are 50% more likely to pursue a higher education and develop critical thinking skills that benefit them throughout their lives. So to be a part of this transformative process is incredibly fulfilling. I'm also excited about the opportunity to strengthen the connection between FFA members and the broader community. So that's building bridges between our organizations and local businesses, educational institutes, and other community groups can create a valuable partnership and open doors for not only just our members, but our state association. These connections not only will enhance the resources available to our chapters, but also foster a greater appreciation and support for agriculture education and leadership development within our organization. Ultimately, what I'm looking forward to most is seeing the growth and success of our FFA members. Their passion and potential drives me to give my best every single day, and I'm truly honored to be able to play a role in their journey. I'm committed to making a positive difference in supporting each member in reaching their fullest potential throughout this year of service.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I'm really excited to see like the impact that you guys will continue to have on our state. I know, I was sitting in the auditorium the minute, they're calling the names. Weston's up there going, "You're 2020," he was going up there calling all the names off. And, this year was the first year that I really knew the candidates going into it. Right at the end of my freshman year, I knew maybe 2 or 3 of the candidates, just because they were from West Tennessee and I'd heard of them before. But I didn't have no one-on-one connections with any of them this year or that year. Now going into this year, of course I knew a good bit of them. I knew Sarah from from being in West Tennessee. Of course T. Wayne, who doesn't know him? And, there's just a handful of people that I knew. I ran into them multiple times at state that week, just having a good old conversation. And when I was hearing them names called off, and every single name was being called, and or all 8 names rather were being called, I was just so excited that this team was going to accomplish so many things this year. I didn't know exactly what y'all were going to be able to do. I just knew that impact was going to be felt, and I can definitely say after camp alone, it was really obvious that this team was going to impact or is impacting our state in so many different ways. And yeah, so leading on into the next question, so me and you are actually both serving as Tennessee FFA and the USA reporters. Would you want to share a little bit about your position?
Serving as an FFA and the USA reporter is an incredible honor and a role that I'm truly passionate about. In this position, I have the unique opportunity to advocate for our Tennessee FFA members on the national level by creating stories that highlight their achievements, contributions, and experiences. My first article was an SAE spotlight from a member in West Tennessee, so go check that out. But one of the most rewarding aspects of this role is the ability to share the remarkable stories of our Tennessee FFA members with a wider audience on the national level. From celebrating their initiative projects to leadership accomplishments to showcasing their dedication to community service and agriculture excellence, my role allows me to shine a spotlight on the outstanding work that happens here in Tennessee. It reminds me a lot of when I was younger. In Arizona, I wasn't like all of the other little girls that I went to school with. I loved going outside and hunting for scorpions, actually. Arizona had a lot of scorpions. And so you'd shine this black light on them and the scorpions would glow. Like, it was crazy to see, and it always fascinated me. And that's exactly how I feel when I'm advocating as an FFA in the USA Reporter. I'm able to shine that spotlight on Tennessee FFA members and allow them to be highlighted on the national level. And it's truly a blessing to highlight the hard work and talent of our Tennessee FFA members, knowing that their stories can inspire and engage others on the larger scale. Each story I get to tell and share is a testament to an incredible potential and dedication of our members, and it's deeply fulfilling to be a part of that process. I'm grateful for the chance to represent Tennessee FFA on the national level and be an advocate to our members, sharing their successes and contributions with the world.
Oh yeah, I honestly can't even express how thankful I am to be serving as a FFA in the USA Reporter, because there's so many areas of our state that may not get as much light shed on them. And I feel like with this position, we are able to do that a lot more than we've ever been able to in the past. I think we have 8 from across the state, 2 from each region. And it's honestly really, really, really cool to see all the articles and everything that's going into our reporters putting out good stuff to share with the world pretty much about everything. I mean, we did SAU articles this past month, and those were honestly really, really cool to read. I've sat and I've read majority of the ones that have been published, and I honestly can't even express how happy I was to read most of them, because there's just so much that is so much that's getting done with this program, and I'm really, really excited to see where it goes in the future. And I'm really, really excited to continue serving with the fantastic 7 others in the state of Tennessee. So, moving on to the next question, what is your favorite part about being an advocate for agriculture?
So one of the best parts about being an advocate for agriculture is the opportunity to leverage my supervised agricultural experience through agriculture communications, which allows me to shift perspectives and enhance understanding about what FFA is and what's going on in the broader agricultural industry. But this role has been incredibly rewarding because it allows me to bridge the gap between agriculture and our average consumer, making our work and achievements more accessible and relatable. I remember starting my supervised agricultural experience. I was a freshman in high school and kind of was just getting going in FFA, and my communications teacher asked me if I would be the news anchor for our school news channel, and I was like, sure, but what am I going to talk about? And so I had a select story on agriculture and FFA, and I got to talk about what was going on in not just my FFA chapter, but our state and our organization, and what was going on in agriculture at the time. And that really sparked my interest in creating and highlighting what is going on in FFA and agriculture. But through my experiences, I've had the chance to craft messages that highlight the significance of agriculture, not just as an industry, but as a cornerstone of communities and daily lives for some individuals. For instance, creating content that showcases initiative projects for FFA members or vital roles in sustainable farming practices, especially through my school. That's what we usually did, was sustainable farming practices. And it helped show the difference in agriculture for those who might not have a background in it. But this kind of storytelling is so powerful because it opens the door for greater awareness and appreciation. What's truly fulfilling is seeing the impacts of these efforts. When people gain a better understanding of the challenges and triumphs of the agriculture sector, they start to recognize the value of the work that's being done. I got to see the amount of FFA member increase through my chapter just by seeing the stories through that school news, and it allowed them to understand a little bit more about what is going on in FFA and how they can be a part of it. And that created influence and the ability to influence how agriculture is perceived, and to shed a light on the passion and dedication of FFA members is a privilege. It is a constant reminder of why I'm so passionate about this organization and this field, because through effective communication, we can educate, inspire, and build a stronger support system for the future of agriculture.
Oh, definitely. See, I was sitting in my room on January 6th, 2024, and I got the random urge, and I was like, hey, why don't I start a social media account to advocate for agriculture? And, it's sometimes you think back on these kind of things, and you just reflect, and you think what your life would look like if you didn't make those little decisions that you honestly didn't even think were going to be that big of a change in your life. So, the night that I made my account, I posted a little get to know me, who am I, that kind of stuff. And I kind of just let it be. I didn't really focus on posting for a little bit, to be honest, which is not a good idea. But yeah, I didn't really focus on posting. I just had the account. I made a little introduction post. And I think I may have made like one post, like throwing back to something. I think it might have been my either state convention or camp that year, one of the two. And, it's looking back at it now, it's really crazy that I, just did that. Honestly, think about it today. I would not be doing hardly near any of the things that I'm doing today if I did not sit down and make that ag advocacy account. Clearly, I wouldn't be trying to go to college for agricultural communications and minoring in education, all that kind of stuff, if I did not start that account, because it gave me the passion to educate others. It gave me the passion to share stories about agriculture. And, eventually that led to this podcast. That led to a website, a blog, getting the FFA and the USA positions, one of them. Honestly, advocacy is something that I love so much. And I did an episode with Miracle a few days ago, and it's coming out, I think, the 16th? Something like that. This one's coming out on the 4th, I think. Anyways, but I did an episode with her, and we were just talking about advocacy for a little bit, and, it's so much. And the way that I put it is, if you plant the seed, you have to nurture the growth of that same seed, or else you won't be able to reap the benefits. It's something that's cheesy, but it's something that I just say over and over and over. And I think that's really, really true with advocacy, because if you don't go and if you plant the seed, you can have a seed there. But you have to go, you have to fertilize the seed, you have to nourish the growth of the seed, or nurture the growth rather of that seed. And if you don't do that, then you will not be able to see the benefits of that seed, which could eventually possibly mean sprouting out and growing advocates or so many other things. So I'm going to quit yapping. So you actually have a very exciting national convention coming up this October. So what are some things that you're looking forward to with National Convention this year?
National Convention is probably one of my favorite things throughout the year, and this year I have the incredible opportunity to be a delegate and actively participate in the decision-making process that shapes the future of FFA. I remember watching national finals for parliamentary procedure, and I thought it was so cool how they could effectively control a meeting through what they did. And so being able to do that on the national committee will allow me to contribute to the direction of our organization, which I'm truly looking forward to. I'm also super excited to connect with FFA members across the country at 2 different Next Gen conferences. I traveled to St. Louis, Missouri and Denver, Colorado, and I got to see FFA members from across the United States, from Oregon to Maine to California, and I got to see their unique perspectives and experiences they brought to the table. And at National Convention, we'll get to see diverse ideas and approaches that is going to be super inspiring for not only me, but it's also going to enrich the understanding of how FFA operates on the national scale, as well as through their state associations. And it's going to help me advocate for our state more effectively. By representing Tennessee, I have the chance to ensure that our state's voice is heard and our interests are well represented during national discussions. I'm also super excited to meet and connect with some of my fellow Speak Ag pioneers at a social event we get to attend. So I got to meet Bryn from Nebraska and Jack from New York at the State Officer Summit in Washington, D.C., and they also got the chance to serve as a Speak Ag pioneer. So I'm super excited to get to see them again. But these gatherings provide a fantastic opportunity to build relationships, share experiences, and just learn from one another. The camaraderie and exchange of ideas with peers who share a passion for FFA and advocating are incredibly valued. But National Convention is an unparalleled platform for advocacy, collaboration, and personal growth. I'm eager to dive into discussions, contribute to the decisions that will impact our organization, and make lasting connections with FFA members all across the country.
Oh, definitely. I'm really excited. So we have about 48 days or so until our chapter leaves for nationals, and I honestly cannot even express how excited I am. Like, this will be my second year going, and last year was truly a life-changing experience. Like I knew there was many things that I wanted to do with FFA. A lot of those things a lot of those ideas kind of became about around camp last summer. Of course, the theme was rooted, and I was just talking about how, like, what does my root system look like and stuff like that. And when I went to nationals, it was just so much more that was added to that. I got the urge to do more. I wanted to serve. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. And I'd honestly say if it wasn't for nationals, there's so many things that I probably would not be doing today right now either. Of course, I'm really looking forward to this year because, of course, a lot of the FFA and the USA reporters are going to be there, and I'd like to get to meet and getting to know everybody that we're working with this year, and just so many other things. I mean, the rodeo, all that kind of stuff. I'm really, really excited about that. But overall, it's really going to be a great time. Like I said, we got like 40 something days till we load up and head north to Indianapolis. So, yeah. So, unfortunately, I do have one more question, though. So, this will be the last question. How would you encourage a student to join FFA?
Encouraging a student to join FFA often starts with a simple, genuine conversation. It's about making them feel valued and showing them how FFA can be a place where they truly belong. Sometimes all it takes is someone reaching out and sharing their own positive experiences to spark an interest. When I talk to students about FFA, I focus on how the organization can open a door of incredible opportunities. For instance, FFA members gain access to a variety of leadership development events, scholarships, and hands-on experiences in agriculture that significantly enhances their personal and professional growth. FFA is growing the next generation of leaders that will change the world, and that is something that I like to focus on to help them better understand what FFA is going to do for you in the future. But what really matters is making each student feel like they are a part of something meaningful. I always emphasize that FFA is not just about agriculture, but it's about finding a community where their unique talents and passions can thrive. Whether they have a strong interest in farming or simply want to develop leadership skills and make new friends, FFA provides a supportive environment where they can grow. But it's not just about listening to their interests and concerns, but it's showing them that FFA can be a space where they can shine. By having an open and encouraging conversation, we can help them see their potential for personal growth and career success through agriculture education, by just being joy for them and helping them see that they can be a part of a community that celebrates and supports one another. This approach not only invites them into FFA, but also helps them feel like a valued member from the start.
Of course, like every single time that I do this part of the podcast, I always end the podcast on some kind of like encouragement thing. Usually I do like a So usually I do like, maybe how would you encourage a future advocate, or how would you encourage a future FFA member? I always like to end the podcast on that because it always is something that'll resonate and stick with that person that is listening. And, I really like the way you put it. It is awesome that so many people are trying to encourage the next generation of FFA members. And honestly, it is one of my favorite things to do. I love encouraging the next generation. I love being able to bring them in under my wings, rather, and share whatever I can with them. It means a lot. And, I'm really excited to see the growth of FFA in the future. Of course, we passed 1 million members a few months ago, about a month ago now. But it's really, really exciting. So, like I said, unfortunately, that is all that I have for this episode. But Paige, if you'd like to give any closing remarks, go ahead.
It was such a pleasure being a part of the Empowering the Future podcast. Those words truly mean a lot to me, empowering the future. FFA starts the future, our future leaders, our future doctors, our future politicians. And through this podcast, FFA members and anybody really who wants to hear it is going to get the opportunity to see experiences that have helped empower the future and how people are empowering the future. So it was a privilege to be a part of this podcast, and I'm so grateful.
Of course. So thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I've truly enjoyed listening to your story, and I'm really excited to share and get it published so that everybody else can hear it too. But unfortunately, that is all that I have for this episode, guys. I will see y'all back Monday, I will not see y'all, but tune back in Monday morning at 8 a.m. for episode 13 or 14 with Miracle Brown, the 2024-2025 Middle Tennessee Regional Reporter. Stay tuned for that episode. It is going to be a great one, and thank y'all for listening.